Hello and welcome to M&A Murders and Accusations, the good, the bad, and the ugly of selling your business. We dig into what you need to know and how not to kill the sale of your business. Now here's our host, Rick J. Krebs, Mergers and Acquisitions Advisor.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to M&A, Murders and Accusations, the good, the bad, and the ugly of selling your business. This is Rick J. Krebs coming to you from Heber City, Utah, and I've got a guest who has some pretty cool things to share with us. My guest is Brad Bennett. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, Brad, and I met, I want to say 3 years ago or so. And then we just reconnected recently, and he's on the cutting edge of something that I think is huge. And I'm going to let him tell us about it. But what he's going to share with us today is something that every business owner struggles with. Well, nearly every business owner. And that is how to retain talent and how to attract talented people in your business. And what do you do? And how can you help them? I'm not going to spill the beans. We're going to start, though, but that's a little teaser of what we're going to talk about. And in selling the business, it's all about your employees. It's about the people that you have and the team, the management team that you've put together. And this is going to teach you some mechanisms and some things that you can do to help attract them and help keep them. And Brad's on the forefront of this, and I'm excited to share it. So before we do, I always like to have you share something personal about yourself and how you got started in the business.
All right. Well, how I got started in the business is about 25 years ago, I met a girl. And it was through the singles ward, as some of us Utahns wind up getting married from. And there was one day I was coming into church, she was coming out. We kind of collided there, talked for a minute. She invited me to her Halloween party. I thought she had interest in me. Really, there just weren't enough guys. And so that's kind of how everything started. At the Halloween party, I was in college then. I was studying for an exam the next day. And so I didn't dress up in the Halloween costume. It kind of frustrated her. And I didn't come all Halloween and festive. Fast forward a couple of weeks. Ended up asking her out, and I go pick her up, and she looks at me. She's like, "What are you wearing?" I'm like, "Clothes." Apparently, after a certain date in fall, you're not supposed to wear shorts, even though the temperature is nice outside. So before we go to dinner, we went shopping, and I bought this new outfit to go to dinner with this girl on the first date.
She didn't like your costume. She didn't like your clothes.
Well, it gets better. We're just warming up here. She asked me, so what do you do for work? And I said, well, I'm a stonemason. I've been laying rock for a while. My cousin, so my dad's side of the family actually settled Heber. And my cousin, his shop was over there by Daniels there in the Heber Valley. And he's one of the biggest stone companies in the country. And I looked at what he did. I love physical labor. I love putting puzzles together. I really enjoyed laying rock. And I figured, well, I could build a business like that. Her response, though, is like, I don't want to marry a stonemason. I'm like, okay, doesn't like my costume, doesn't like what I wear, doesn't like what I drive, you don't like what I do for work. And sometimes my mouth functions before anything else. And I was like, well, great.
You're a perfect match. You sound like a perfect match, Brad.
Really is a perfect match. It's like, great, I don't want to pay for dessert or a movie. And as far as I was concerned, it was over. Like, that was the end of the date. I wasn't ever asking this girl out again. Just, can I tell you a story? I'm like, you can tell me anything you want. So she starts telling me about her mom's side of the family and her dad's side of the family. But I'm listening to this whole thing going, that's what I want for my family. Never imagined she was going to be a part of this, but that was what I wanted for my family. That was actually the last day I ever laid rock. Wow. It was a Saturday that day, stay at Lake Rock. There were two girls in the singles ward that I had been watching because I knew what it was that I was after. I knew what I needed in my wife. And the other one was actually the assistant to Stephen Covey. So the next day at church, I asked her, I said, hey, are they hiring down at Franklin Covey? She goes, I know they're hiring in the coaching department. I said, okay, tell me a little bit about it. And, she said, let me have somebody give you a call. So it wasn't even lunch. And I got a call that next day from Franklin Covey. Went down, interviewed, and I started selling in the coaching department. And during those, they did that for about 3 years. I consumed every bit of information from every one of the financial gurus they were doing coaching for, whether it was Ron LeGrand, Carlton Sheets, Robert Kiyosaki. Well, he was kind of new coming onto the scene at that point in time. We were out doing those things. We had investment properties. We had some of these other things going on. And I got to a point where I was just kind of done with the sales part. So my wife, she's like, well, they quit. If we've hit that stage, go to the next step. So I went in the next day, I gave him my notice, and a couple of days later, I'm in an exit interview. And the girl asked me, she's like, so what are you going to be doing? And I kind of went through some of the stuff that we had our fingers in, and she goes, oh my gosh, we need another coach. Great. If I run into anybody, I'll let you know. She says, no. We want you. This is an exit interview. You understand? Just quit. And she was relentless. The next thing I know, the director of coaching, the future director of coaching, both of them are in her office. And so I was trying to wiggle my way out of it. I get home. Angela asks, how did things go? I told her, and she goes, whoa, so when do you start? I'm like, well, I told her we needed to talk first. And she goes, oh, we spoke. Find out when you start. It's dear. So when I started coaching, what had happened is Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff was exploding. So all the coaches that had been on the Sheets coaching, which was for the real estate, had all been moved over to the Rich Dad. And so I started with the Carlton Sheets stuff, and that only lasted for a few months until they needed more people over on Rich Dad, and I got moved over there. And spent the next 7 years coaching the Choose to Be Rich and the Rich Dad real estate. And there were a few things that I learned that the more time that has gone by, the more powerful those lessons have become. Robert was always harping on pay yourself first. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Now, when I first started coaching, I was young and dumb. And Robert really didn't like income taxes. Still doesn't like income taxes. He doesn't like some of the fluff fees that go along with things. I mean, he's very much so a proponent of professionals have coaches and pay the fees for the people that are bringing the value to your life. But that was some of the big things that I kind of stuck with on that, not realizing that the first part was the most important. And it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Because those are your employees. Those are what create your freedom. What you save in paying yourself first. And then the last thing was cash flow is king. So not cash is king, cash runs out. Cash flow renews every single month or every year or whatever it is. And so as long as you have that renewable resource, you have the opportunities to take the next steps and the next steps. So after I left Rich Dad, I had my vision, where I was headed. I kind of had it all mapped out. And then Angela comes up into my office the next morning and she goes, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And I kind of went through my day. She's like, are you meeting with anybody? I'm like, no, I've got to get these things done. She says, great, you're going to go meet with my dad. Fine. Well, because you're going to start doing what my dad does. I'm like, honey, we're already doing what your dad does. Like, that's already a part of our plan and what's going on there. She's like, no. You're going to start working with my dad. No, I'm not. And I protested greatly, and I laid down the law and I let her know how it is. And the next morning I went down and I met with her dad, and I've been working with him since.
Wow. Now, is he the founder of Nest Steps?
No, he is, Prosperity Economics Group is his company.
Okay.
And that has to do with some of the tools that Kiyosaki talked about on, being able to create leverage in making sure that your foundation was solid as you're building on things, banking through life insurance, making sure that you have the right cash flow structure in place, really setting yourself up to be able to jump into the next levels of things. And some of the things that I learned from that, or really I didn't learn it, but was more solidified in what I'd been seeing from when I was coaching. And that is that people truly don't understand where their money is going. And the more we get into...
So elaborate on that they don't understand where their money's going. So from a business owner, you have employees and you pay them, but elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay. I think one of the worst things that happened to us financially was the advent of the debit card. We began to sever our physical relationship with money as soon as it happened. When we were kids, if we were to go work, I at times worked on the farm. I had a landscaping business in high school. When I would finish work, I was either given a physical check that I had to take down to the bank and either deposit or cash, or I was given physical. And when I went and bought my first fly rod, I went to Western Rivers and I counted out $240 on the counter. It was physical. Like I had that relationship of actually doing the work, getting paid for it physically taking the money and there was that physicalness of everything. And when the debit card came out, it began the process of severing that physical relationship because you just swipe the card. And then as technology is gone, we don't even have to swipe the card anymore. We don't have to write out a check to pay the gas bill, pay the electric bill, to pay the... Most people have things just set up on automatic withdrawal, those auto payments. And it just runs in the background. You ask people, how many subscriptions do you have? I don't know. Because it just happens in the background. Well, it's not a big deal. It's just a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. Well, those couple dollars here and there, all of a sudden, before you know it, that's $250 a month. It's out the door that you don't even see.
Yeah.
And, $250 is not that big of a deal. Okay. That's $3,000 a year. That's all of a sudden that starts to become real money. And because of that, we become numb to it, I guess. Everything is unconscious. Our spending today is so unconscious in what we do. And
I'm in that boat. I think about that, Brad. I'm in that boat. Everything goes on the Amex, right? And they get the bill at the end of the month. They're like, what's that?
We're all in that boat.
And you get the bill at the end of the month. They're like, whoa, how was that 10 grand? How was that 20 grand? Right? And you go back, you go, oh yeah, I guess it really was. But everything just goes on the cards. So we're all in that boat, including the employees.
Yes. Yeah. And it's worse for the employees.
Because they have less money.
That's right. They're on that. They're people talk about retirees being on a fixed income. As an employee, you're on a fixed income.
Yeah.
It's not like a business owner that expands the business. It's An investor that expands the portfolio, they're on a fixed income. They just don't realize. They were never told they were on a fixed income. And so they don't even realize that. And that is, over the last 25 years, I've watched the problem get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, paycheck to paycheck. Or you have paycheck to paycheck, or you have the check cashing, right, where you can actually get money before your paycheck. My son was working for a company and they were paying him daily.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, depositing money in. Why? Because it was enticing. Because you earn, you spend every day. So tell us about Nest Steps and why it was created and how it solves this problem.
Okay, so Nest Steps was created to get people out of the financial mud, being just stuck in that mud. We talked a little bit about my cousin, Robert. He's the one that created the company. Aaron is the one who's my age. And Aaron, right after Robert had bought this brand new dually for his company, Aaron swiped the keys and went up on Lindsay Hill to change the water. And he got this thing stuck in the mud. And he got that thing buried to the frame. So it didn't matter what he was going to do. He wasn't getting it out until they got a couple of backhoes with chains hooked up to it to break the suction and get it out. And so we have to break the suction that people unknowingly and unintentionally got themselves into and be stuck in that financial mud. That is the whole purpose of Nest Steps. So how this was created, a couple of years ago, I started working with a tool that automates your finances. So it's playing by the same rules of the game that everybody else is playing by today in separating you from your money. We just re-engineered it and reversed it to make your money sticky so that now you got first crack at it instead of everybody else.
Gotcha. So hold on one second. So as an employer, you have employees and they're like, well, I need more money. That's in their mind is the answer to their financial problems is just pay me more, right? And as an employer, you're going, hey, I can't pay you more. If I'm already compensating you, there's not enough to go around, right? And so what this does is this helps solve that problem because you're not working on the income side of it. You're working on the expense side of it and being smart with the money that you already have. And so you're teaching people these principles about financial planning, about money management, so that they can work smarter with the money they have. And you throw more money at them, you're exactly right. I have this saying, like, you can't give rednecks money because you give the redneck $100,000 and he's going to go buy a $95,000 truck and $5,000 worth of beer and it's gone tomorrow. Right? It just is. It's just saying it.
Give a redneck $100,000. You wait till you see that truck show up.
Yep, he can't afford the insurance on it, but hey, he's got the truck, so it sits in the front lawn. But that's our point. They just don't know how to handle the money they receive. And so I love that you're working on this other side of it because everyone's about, oh, pay me more, give me more benefits. No, give me more knowledge, give me more experience and advice on the spending side. The income side is going to take care of itself. But go ahead. I had to interrupt and bring that up because that's such an important part and important point and important aspect of what you do.
Well, you're spot on with that. It's the paycheck is rarely the problem. It's everything else after the paycheck. And nobody understands, nowhere in any of our education system are we taught how to be financially savvy, how to put yourself on a path to create success, or to even understand how any of these things work. And as a result, an increase of pay, it didn't help break the suction. All you did was slam the gas and bury it deeper. Because exactly what you said, we're all wired the same way. Every single one of us rednecks. We're going to go buy that bigger truck. It's and the dealers know that, so they're going to charge us for it. And it comes back to the what's the word I'm trying to say here? They become very, very skilled at it, and they know how to do it. Their skills are improving. The general population skills are being left, and it's just not a fair fight. So, like you said, it comes back to the inflow. I sit down with my clients and we go through a cash flow exercise. Inevitably, I find $500, $1,000, $1,500 a month that they should have in excess every single month.
They're not keeping it. They just don't know how to deal with it.
They don't even know where it went. And it's really a mean question that I asked. I just said, okay, Bob, Mary, looks like we should have an extra $12,000 a month. In what account did you save that in? And Bob looks at Mary and Mary looks at Bob, because obviously they did it. When they both did it, they just don't know where it went.
Yeah. Well, money just leaks out. You buy the $9 lattes, right? 20 days a year. What's that? $180 a month just leaking there. And you both do that. Then you're $400 a month just on coffee in the morning or whatever. But it just leaks if you're not paying attention. I love this.
The best way to fill a leaky bucket is to plug the holes.
So simple.
Right? However, everybody's reaction is, I got to pour more water in faster. You talk to any farmer up there in Heber. If they have a leak anywhere in their water system, they come unglued. They will shut the whole thing down. You have to stop the leak, because that water is their livelihood. And if it is leaking, that's money. And that water is so valuable. And so they're incredible at plugging holes in their water system, but we're horrible at plugging holes in our financial system. And so when we go through that exercise, they begin to see, oh my gosh, there should be excess, but they don't know how to capture that. And so that's where we reroute and restructure how money flows through their world. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's kind of like when you sign up for a 401k. If I ask anybody that I work with, how much out of your paycheck for your 401k? Nobody knows. The reason they don't know is because it happened first. It never hit their checking account. If the money hit their checking account and then they had to turn around and send it back to the 401k, you think 401k balances are bad today? Reverse the way that it is done, and everybody's 401k balance would be zero, because of human nature. It hits the account, we spend it. I kind of joke around about seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. That's the diet that I'm on. Or the same way when it comes to spending money. So that is the first problem, is the relationship people have with their money. They don't understand they're spending it. We got to recreate how money flows through their world. When that happens and we put that structure in place, all of a sudden by default, they start to save.
Gotcha. So hold on. So what happens is you engage with the business owner, right? And the business owner offers this to their employees. It's a benefit, part of their benefit package.
Yeah.
Okay. And the mechanics are, because I'm an accountant, I follow the money, right? So instead of them getting a paycheck, they get a paycheck into an account through your system.
Correct.
Now walk me through the money flow from there. So instead of it hitting Chase Bank, for instance, it hits XYZ system. How does it work?
And it is a bank account. It's a checking account that the employee owns. They control it. They have full, it's their money. But we have it connected to a SaaS platform. So after they meet with an equity architect and they go through and they see, oh my gosh, I should have X number of dollars left over each month. Then we program the platform to send to their checking account how much they need to maintain their lifestyle.
So it eliminates discretionary expenses or reduces them.
It reduces the waste.
Gotcha.
That's what it eliminates.
Okay.
Is it's the waste. People have more money slipping through their fingers unknowingly and unnecessarily every single year than they will ever amass in an asset. And they don't even know. That is our number one issue in creating wealth, is the waste that we don't realize we're wasting. My clients that have been on the platform for 6 months, a year, 2 years, when I ask them, what have you sacrificed to have built the savings that you have? Every single one of them says, I have more today than I had before. My spending has become intentional. We put the money where we get the greatest joy out of it.
Wow. So you control your money instead of your money controlling you.
That's exactly it. And when you plan for the vacations, you know that this vacation isn't going to hurt you. It's so much more enjoyable instead of being out there on the beach thinking, oh, is this going to max out that credit card? Or do we have enough to go do that? Well, you already have it. You plan for it. It's built in. And you get to go and enjoy. You get to have that fun. I got a text from a client earlier this week that he hasn't been on the platform for very long. And it was kind of this punch in the gut because his wife's car needed some major repairs. And he was looking at his account balance. And the text was kind of like, we've put this effort in and we failed. We're starting over. But here's where he was 6 months ago. He was busting out a credit card to pay for the car repair.
Yeah. And getting further behind.
He was getting further behind. He was scrambling. He was, all these things. And I responded and I said to him, I'm like, let me help you understand the win. Yeah, it sucks because you're going to take $3,000 out of this account. That felt so good that you got there. 6 months ago, you would have been paying for that repair on your credit card. And you would have put yourself further behind. We would have been chasing that 8-ball bar. Yes.
18% or 25, whatever it is.
The credit cards are so corrosive on your opportunity to create wealth. And I said, today, you're going to make the transfer, cut the check, and you're still ahead of where you were 6 months ago because there's still over $1,000 sitting in the account. Congratulations, you've just won for the first time in I don't know how many years in being in control over where your financial life is headed.
Wow. And even a small win, $1,000. What percentage of Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings, right? Oh. And so this is huge to have this win. And then they start to see that money and they see it grow and they get excited about it. And they're like, yes. And they have to be intentional with it. I love this concept, Brad. Love what you're doing here.
And what most people don't realize is being paid biweekly, which is the vast majority, there's 3 bonus checks a year. The majority of people that I work with should be able to save 100, 200 or more just out of the 2 checks a month to take care of all of their needs, which means those 3 bonus checks should have been captured. If we're able to just capture the bonus checks, the end result at the end of the year, people are $10,000, $15,000 ahead.
Wow.
Just off of the bonus check.
It's incredible.
And this is a huge game changer. So this is number one, why we created this. People are drowning financially. They don't understand how, why, what do you do to change it, and everything else that comes along with it. The second reason that Nest Steps was created, and this is one of, I would say even the bigger vision that came along with it was homeownership.
Yeah, tell me about that. We haven't even talked about that, but I'm really excited.
So when I'm sure you know who SHRM is.
I don't.
You know, the HR Bible is what I refer to them as.
I don't know them.
Okay. So this is an organization. It's national. They do all of this research with human resources and what employees are looking for. What are they needing? What are they missing? All of these things. And SHRM basically took everything that I have done over the last 25 years, quantified it, put the numbers to it.
Okay.
Which really made me feel smart and good. But if I was really smart and good, I'd have already had the quantification. And the crazy thing is Morgan Stanley, PwC, JWC, Surety Bonds, Fidelity, like the list of organizations that have done some of the same studies, all came up with the same information, same answers. Reason I refer to SHRM more is because anytime you talk to an HR person, if you reference SHRM, it's gospel truth. So stepping back a little bit, what they're saying is 60% of employees are financially stressed out. Half of them spend 3 or more hours a week on the clock trying to solve financial problems. It leads to lack of focus, lack of productivity, high turnover rates, right? And the issues go on and on with that. So it's costing the company millions of dollars a year. The other interesting thing about the studies is they are now finding that the age 35 and under don't believe they'll ever own a home. That the American dream has passed by and they're never going to get there. And those that do believe that they still will be able to get a home, they don't believe they'll get it until they're 40, 45. That's where the focus is in how far out of reach homeownership has become to so many people. That's just not the truth when you look at all the numbers. Does it become more challenging? Yes. But it's very attainable still.
So how do you solve this? How do you help employees get a home?
So that's where the employer gets to also be a part of the story, the hero in the employees' lives. A lot of the data is now showing that employees not only are begging for financial literacy and some sort of home ownership assistance, 30% of them have said they would forego a raise if they got the other.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're screaming for a solution. And the problem that we have is we're not taught, we're not given solutions. The HR benefits that we have today, they're great, but they haven't addressed the root problem of financial literacy and home ownership. That is why we created Next Steps. We created Next Steps to increase home ownership. What happens when you have an employee that becomes a homeowner? They're anchored in the community.
Yep.
They now have a sense of pride, of accomplishment. They're less likely to swap jobs because they're worried about making the mortgage payment. Being a renter, they're transient. Oh, well, I can just go pop over here. I can go over there. When they're a homeowner, it means something. They're willing to do things to protect that house.
Yeah, I used to love it when I had employees, when they'd come in and say, oh, I just bought a new car. I loved it. Or I just bought a home, right? Because I know that they're going to come to work. I know that now they have this payment over their head and it's going to incentivize them to work. And so I love that as an employer. I would take someone who had a home ownership way over someone who didn't. One, they're less transient, you're right. You know, they're staying. Usually they have families and they have obligations. They tend to be more responsible and better workers. So I love that.
It's funny you mentioned the car thing. When I first started in sales at Franklin Covey Coaching, one of the first things they told me to do was go buy a BMW.
There you go.
And they didn't even hide the reason behind it. They said, you'll be more motivated to show up and sell if you've got to crack that payment. Dead serious. So it's funny that you say that. Is the lawyer?
Yeah. So just a second. So I find this very funny. So you have financial advisors telling their coaches to buy one of the single largest and fastest appreciating asset there is.
That was before I was a coach. I was on the sales floor, and they had to hit the sales numbers.
Sales. There you go. Okay, that's a little less funny, but still,
Yes, but still, it's we're coaching financial wellness and telling people to go buy a car.
Yeah.
It's so.
So how does this work? Walk us through the mechanics of how it works on buying a home and how they help them buy a home.
Right. So how this works, 10,000-foot view, we sit down with the company and we tailor the program to fit their needs. What are the objectives that they're looking to accomplish? Are they looking to reduce turnover? Are they looking to improve productivity? Are they looking to, whatever it is, we can tailor the program around that specifically so that it becomes an incentive base. The employer then is, we roll it out. They have a few rules and guidelines associated with them. If you're going to get the down payment assistance, or if you're going to get the monthly mortgage assistance, you have to be enrolled in PECFLOF. You have to go to the workshops, and you have to complete the workshops. So those workshops are going to entail the real estate agents, helping them understand what does it take to purchase a house. That entails me or one of my other equity architects in going through and helping them understand how the platform works and the power of everything there and the automation. And then they sit down with them individually and go through the cash flow exercises and set everything up so that they're in control. We have the workshops with the mortgage professionals. The reason that is so important is usually when you go try to get pre-qualified, the individual you're working with, they look at your credit, they look at your income, they shop it to a couple of places and say, here's what we can get for you. What they don't tell them about is what are all the assistances that are available, state, federal, and so forth. There's a lot of down payment assistance out there that is available for the individuals to use to make it easier to get into that first home. So they're going to educate them on that. They're going to help them find what is going to be the best ones for them to qualify for. So it's not just the employer potentially that's giving them a little bit of assistance, but it could be first-time home ownership. It could be, whatever some of these other programs are out there towards that. If you live in the right area, you can get a USDA loan on average because of the community that you're in. And there's some favorability that goes along with that. There's so many bits and pieces of a good mortgage professional that knows how to find all of the little things that are going to benefit the buyer. Understanding title and title insurance and why that is so important. Understanding when you get into a home, what do you do next? Think of the first time you bought a house. Everybody I bring that up with, they're like, oh my gosh, it was the scariest thing that I ever did. It was the most exciting, scary thing I ever did. Why is it so scary? You don't know what you just signed your life away to. You're in a whole new world of what's coming at you. There's these workshops that take the employees through and to educate them and to build the team and to build the knowledge and the experience and to take the scariness out. And when you take an employee's financial stress level from a 10 to a 5, they're no longer shopping you for a higher paycheck.
That's right.
Yeah, they become sticky. If you're offering, $1,000, $2,000 for a down payment assistance. Well, if I leave, I lose what I've got here. If you're offering, we've had companies looking anywhere from $50 to $300 a month in mortgage assistance as direct buy down. The impact that has on their wealth is huge. You know what the interest curves are like on a mortgage.
Yeah.
And, extra buy down in the first couple of years of that mortgage equates to tens of thousands of dollars on the back end of mortgage. They're building wealth. Homeowners' wealth level is significantly greater. And so what that does for the employer, you've reduced the stress financially. You just got a more loyal employee. You have a more focused, more productive individual, and you've created stickiness because you've solved their problems. You've helped them get into a home. Fannie Mae did a 10-year case study. Employers that provided some sort of housing assistance reduced turnover by over 50%. Aurora Health Services or Systems, they're back in Minneapolis area, over 25,000 employees, duplicated that case study, saw the same result. Reduced turnover by over 50%.
Wow.
This is the most sticky benefit that you can give someone.
This is what keeps the people, right? And the employers are the good guys because they're helping them. They're matching or contributing money to it. They're giving the education that they need. Oh, I love this.
And they've eliminated the financial stress that allows the employee to function at their highest and best level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is the power that comes with the Nest Steps HR benefit.
Yeah.
It's incredible, the results they come with it.
That's really cool. So we're getting short on time. What other things would you like the listeners to know?
So another powerful piece for the employer is not only do we have the platform, but we have the employer-facing portion of the platform.
Okay.
So they're able to see before they give any sort of a benefit, because remember the rules are if you're going to get the benefit, you got to be in the program. They're able to see who all is in the program. They get to see their progress, the improvement in their life financially. They get to see, who we help get a home. They get to see, so they get reports on their end to see the impact that they are making. When it comes down to recruiting top talent, and they sit down with the person across from them that's asking, why should I come to your company instead of ABC? Well, here's why. Do they do this for you? Here's how, not only did we provide the paycheck or match the 401k or whatever else, here's what happens to our employees when they use these benefits that we have offered.
Gotcha.
Will they do that for you? It is a very powerful recruiting tool. It is a very powerful retention tool. The program, ultimately, our goal is that it more than pays for itself. Yes, the employer is going to put in a little bit of extra for assistance, whether it's down payment or mortgage assistance.
Okay.
But if you reduce your turnover by 50%, what is the impact to the bottom line?
So that is huge. And that's what employers are telling me all the time. We can't keep people or we can't hire people. We can't retain them, right? But if they reduce their turnover 50%, that's massive.
What if it was only 20%?
Yeah.
Just a 20% reduction. When you look at the SHRM numbers, SHRM estimates the cost of replacing a $60,000 a year employee is $90,000.
Oh yeah, you got to train them, you got to onboard them and get them there.
The disruption to productivity, it flows through that whole system. As an accountant, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah. I mean, you jumped on it very quickly, knowing what those numbers are. Well, what if it was just half of that? What if it was only 45,000? If you reduced that position's churn, a lot of people today stay at a company for 2 to 3 years. If you reduced one of those turnovers over a 10-year period of time, the savings more than pays for what you've contributed into the program.
Oh yeah.
Just one turnover. Or, instead of every 2 years, it turned to every 3 years. That's a reduction of one turnover. The increased productivity hits the bottom line. This is designed to be an investment in growth of your bottom line, your productivity, and your success. And all the data supports it. And I have watched it with my own employees, but clients. My clients that buy in 100% and automate are crushing it. In comparison to my clients that are trying to outsmart it and do it, they use the platform, but I'm going to tell it what to do, when to do. Or my clients that said, that's not for me. My clients that say it's not for me, they're still stuck in the mud, spinning their tires 100 miles an hour, going nowhere, just digging a deeper hole. Those that use it but don't automate it, they're better than they were. Mine that automated and bought in, did it 100%. Within a month, they're on the trajectory to success.
Wow. So while we're talking about clients, what size the businesses can do this? Is there a minimum?
So one of the challenges that we have found with smaller organizations is their systems and ability to roll it out and execute. It's not that we don't want to work with them. It's that they kind of struggle with doing so. We found that companies with about 100 employees or more, they have more of what it takes to be able to roll it out. And the reason for that is they have more team players. On the smaller organizations, it's the business owner themselves. And because they're trying to do everything, they have too many things on their plate.
So it's a time element. So you could work with one that's had, say, 50 employees, but they're going to need to dedicate someone to this for a while to just implement it. Okay.
Yeah, and if they have somebody who's able to help roll it out, yes, we can help them do that. It's your larger organizations that they have the team to do so. And it really doesn't take a whole lot to roll it out. We've tried to make it as plug and play as possible because we want it to be frictionless. We want that ease of plug it in. It takes a little bit of front end work with us. We get it rolled out, and there's as little as possible on the back end for it to maintain and to work through the whole system.
Gotcha. And you have the SaaS, you've got all of the technology, you've got that, and it implements. And if people want to find you and work with you, where do they go, Brad?
Nestupsbenefits.com, or
hold on, spell that. Nest, like bird's nest.
Like a bird's nest, NEST. It was really kind of a play on words, and we screw people up when they go to search for it because they put in next. But nest steps, like a bird, NESTSTEPS.
Okay.
Benefits.com. Or you can reach out to me directly. My email is bbennett@nestets.com. And we're happy to get that conversation going. It's incredible, the impact that it has. I've never seen that excited about what I'm doing ever.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing this with us. And until next time, this is Rick Krebs, the M&A Cowboy, and we appreciate your time today. M&A, murders and accusations, the good, the bad, and the ugly of selling your business.
Thank you for attending our podcast. We invite you to join us for future episodes of M&A, Murders and Accusations, the good, the bad, and the ugly of selling your business. You can also visit us at www.bsalesgroup.com or email Rick directly at rick@bsalesgroup.com.